How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build that positive mindset. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful things that you can do with a positive mindset. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we're breathing in, you're going to say that word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive perspective. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. Well, before we get started, if there's something that you enjoy or take away from this episode, if you're on YouTube or Spotify, you can actually leave a comment below. Not only does that help people know what's in the episode, it might also inspire them to give this a listen. I want to make this the #1 mindset podcast in the world, and the best way to do that is together. So whether you leave a positive comment or share this episode with somebody, it means the absolute world to me, and I could never thank you enough. But let's dive into today's episode. So this is so powerful, and this is like an additional feature of having a positive mindset. You see, when you have a positive mindset, it means that you have a high perspective. Think about love being the most chargeable, positive thing in the world, the highest frequency. It's what created the universe. It's what created consciousness. Like, it's the most powerful thing that could ever exist. The further you go away from love, the positivity goes down, then you shift into negative energy. That's the idea here. So think about that. So if your perspective is positive, that means it's going up. If it's negative, it's going down. The further you go up, the more positive you are, the more you are able to see of all situations. When you have a positive mindset, your understanding of self will increase because you're going to see beyond self. You're going to start to see why you do things, why you think things, why you act a certain way, instead of just experiencing those. You see, most people operate in a state of experience, meaning they operate and just go. It's almost like an animal response. They just go and do things. They're not really creating by choice. They're creating by design, meaning everything that's there, they just create due to the external influences. When you raise your frequency and you get that positive energy, you're able to see the patterns that you do and then go beyond them. You can see what started the patterns and fix those issues. But here is the bonus. Just because it's true to you doesn't mean it's not also true to other people. When you have a high perspective, you see the person as they are, but you also see the whole of the person. You see their patterns. You see why they are the way they are. You see why they think the way they think. You see how they're going to respond to certain things because you're above it. You're seeing the whole thing above. When you have a high perspective, you see what the person is talking to you about, whatever it's an issue, a conversation, you see it from your angle, you see it from their angle, and you see it from love's angle. So you're able to connect with yourself and people at a higher degree. at a more personal degree, like truly connect with someone's energy. And they will feel the positive perspective that you are providing. This actually happened to me when I was in sales. I didn't know that my mindset was actually having an effect on my sales process. But I realized I was able to identify and connect with people in their pain. When in sales, that's what you do. You usually solve a pain point for somebody. And I was connecting it from an energetic level because of my mindset and the way I worked. I just didn't realize that I was doing it. I thought everyone could see this. Now I know how much of a superpower it is. Of course, you can use it for good or bad because you're connecting to someone's pain. But if you are someone that's on personal development journey, if you're trying to operate in love and light, you're going to do good with it. This is how you bring the good energy within you and you give it to others because you can connect with them on the right perspective, the right frequency, so that they're actually able to receive it. You see, your perception is your reception, meaning as you see, you receive. So if you're talking to somebody and they're operating at a certain perspective and you're operating at a certain perspective, if they're not aligned, if yours is higher, you will understand what they're doing. But if theirs is lower than yours, they can't understand what you're actually projecting into the world because they're not on that frequency. They can't receive it. You can always receive lower frequencies all the time. But receiving upper frequencies, you cannot receive unless you're able to perceive them. You can always perceive down. That's why you have to raise your frequency up because it's almost this down tilt. You can't see above you unless that's what you're actually working to do. And you lift yourself up the ladder and then you're able to see it. So if you want to connect with people, if you want to bring the light within you, if you want to be able to handle situations in a positive way, it all comes down to building that positive mindset. Then you build this high frequency, you're able to see how they're perceiving the world, you can lower your conversation, you can lower your energy to meet them where their perception is so they can actually receive what it is that you're trying to say. And it's not about lowering or hiring or who's better or worse. If you are following your purpose, which is to spread love in a unique way, everyone has different ways of doing it. Some people start podcasts, some people become coaches, some people just work at a grocery store, they're an accountant, they're this, like whatever, like your career doesn't matter. It's who you are in the career. And being able to connect with people is so important because when you can connect with somebody, there's an energy exchange. When you tell the universe that you are going to exchange positive energy with people, meaning you're going to give it to them, and you're in the process of development, meaning you're developing yourself, so you're receiving it, it starts flowing through you. And what you'll find is when you're connecting with people, the guidance, the right words, the enlightenment will all just flow through you. You don't even have to think of the words because you're in alignment with it. The energy comes within you and you're able to give somebody else a high frequency thought because you can bring it onto their level. That's what this is. It's a humongous gift that most people don't realize. How much would your life change if you were a better communicator? If you could connect with people and them understand how you feel and they could see your perspective. Of course, some people are so dug deep into their perspective, they're so lowered into their frequency that they can't. No matter what you do, you may not be at that level to shift them because it is always a choice. But the majority of people just need a little bit of love in their perspective to see something. Just need a little bit of connection on their level to feel something. That's what most people need. In fact, that's probably what you need. You need to connect on your level, something, multiple things, so that you can start receiving something and understanding it. Once you receive and understand it, your perspective lifts because you understand it in a unique way, then your perspective grows. And then you understand it in a new way, in a new way, in a new way. I've had several people say this to me all the time. And they say, how do you keep coming up with content? How do you make episode after episode after episode without repeating yourself? And of course, some of the themes are the same. Some of the topics I do go over, multiple times. But the reason it's never exactly the same is because my growth journey doesn't stop. I'm continually working on my perspective, my understanding on everything. So in this 10-minute clip that you're getting thousands of hours of commitment, stacking on top of each other again and again and again for different perspectives. So this is a brief highlight into what I'm studying all day. So I raise my perspective and give the best of my ability. I raise my perspective and give the best of my ability. That's what you get to do. We're all on the journey. It's just different paths. So honor that. Give yourself permission to raise your frequency so that you can help others, so that you can uplift others, because all the good you get to give, you get to receive as you do it. It's that beautiful. That's such a beautiful thing to know. that as you give, you will receive. If you can build the energy within you, you will give the good energy to others and you will receive more of it. That's why it's a rising tide, right? The ocean's connected. It's all together. It's not a pillar. It's not a single mountain. We're not the mountain that lifts people up because that only is a certain area. We're the rising tide. So let's do it. Let's lift ourselves up and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a positive perspective on your life and the power that you have. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It's actually the very bottom link. If you want to follow along, you'll get an update every time an episode comes out. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook group all down below. So I appreciate all the follows there. I really love talking to people on Instagram. People, when they like things, say comments. It feels so good connecting to you. So I appreciate everybody that does that. And if you want to level up, if you listen to this episode or this podcast and you're ready to shift, I'm a mindset coach. This is what I do. I do exactly what we talked about in this episode to help you become the version of you that you desire to be. If you want information on my one-on-one coaching, you can message me on Instagram or the link down below and I'll get back to you. I also have my group, Freedom Fundamentals. This is something that I am enjoying so much building. There's so much fun. There's so much love. There's so much power going on this. If you want to know about real estate, or maybe you just want the mindset stuff, either way, Freedom Fundamentals is a great place to start. It's got 2 calls, Tuesday and Thursday in our base group, and then we have tiers where you get more of that intimate touch, that intimate growth in there as well. So if you want information on that, you can reach out to me via Instagram, which is definitely the best way, or fill that link down below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.